Red Bull is not looking good, as True Pace revealed. Verstappen shuts down rumors about his future, and Sainz is still unhappy about not getting a top seat. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Could Max Verstappen's head be turned by Aston Martin? Former F1 driver Johnny Herbert thinks it could. He believes that reuniting with Adrian Newey and Honda at Aston Martin would make total sense for Verstappen. This speculation comes as recent updates indicate that the Red Bull Powertrains Ford project isn't progressing as anticipated. Herbert claims it would be shocking if Verstappen doesn't leverage any opportunity to switch to Aston Martin. Verstappen has established himself as one of Formula One's greatest, clinching 4 consecutive world championships by 2024. However, as both Verstappen and Red Bull's dominance from the ground effect era wanes, a thrilling battle for the title in 2025 looms on the horizon. This year marks the end of the current regulations, paving the way for major changes in 2026 with new chassis and power unit rules. 2026 is particularly important for Red Bull as they will officially step into the role of power unit manufacturer for the first time. Their successful partnership with Honda will wrap up, transitioning to a new collaboration with Ford. Yet, Herbert has heard concerning feedback regarding how this transition is unfolding, suggesting that for Verstappen, moving to Aston Martin might be a smart choice. Starting in 2026, Aston Martin will also have access to the Honda engine, but that's not all. They've secured the expertise of Adrian Newey, who has a staggering 26 F1 title wins to his name, including all 14 accolades achieved by Red Bull. Despite Verstappen's contract with Red Bull extending until the end of the 2028 season, team principal Christian Horner has hinted that a performance clause exists within that contract. If Verstappen finds himself outside the top 3 in the 2025 championship, he may have the option to trigger an exit clause. Herbert suggested there's a sense that things aren't progressing as smoothly as Red Bull had hoped, stating, "There are rumors that it's been tougher than they ever expected." Never steers. If the power unit isn't meeting expectations, it certainly complicates Verstappen's decision to remain. With the competitive Honda engine making its way to Aston Martin and Newey on board, the choice for Verstappen seems alluring. He knows he needs to position himself where he can have the best shot at winning races and potentially another world championship. Herbert emphasizes, Max is no fool. If things aren't poised for success at Red Bull and an opportunity arises at Aston Martin, it's hard to imagine Verstappen passing it up. The combination of a powerful Honda engine and Newey's design prowess could indeed make Aston Martin the best place for Verstappen to achieve his racing ambitions. The question remains, would he stick to his current team just out of loyalty or make a decision driven purely by the pursuit of victory? Herbert suspects that winning is all that matters to Verstappen, who is fiercely competitive. Even with a contract until 2028, it's important to remember that contracts are only as strong as the performances behind them. "Champions I've known have always had a performance clause," said Herbert, reflecting the reality of top-tier racing. In summary, as we approach a pivotal moment for both Red Bull and Aston Martin, all eyes will be on Verstappen and the choices that lie ahead in this thrilling landscape of Formula One. As the F1 2025 season unfolds, anticipation is mounting for how teams will perform. Max Verstappen continues to dominate discussions, especially regarding his contract situation with Red Bull. Despite persistent rumors linking him to Aston Martin, Verstappen has firmly denied any such intentions, emphasizing that his recent contact with the team was solely about GT racing. The intrigue intensifies with Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko hinting that Aston Martin might have had ulterior motives in their talks. With rumors swirling about a substantial offer, the situation remains fluid. As the season progresses, fans can expect thrilling races, emerging rivalries, announced beef, and strategic maneuvers that could reshape the competitive landscape of Formula One. Stay tuned for more updates and insights as we dive into the world of F1 and its key figures. In a recent discussion on Sky F1, Brundle expressed his belief that Lewis Hamilton will not just be a contender but may actually emerge as a Grand Prix winner multiple times during his stint with Ferrari in 2025. That's right. the pundit is sticking his neck out with this bold prediction, suggesting Hamilton's timing at Ferrari could see him back on the podium more than once. Now, let's break down why Hamilton is such a focal point as we look ahead. For those who don't know, he's been aiming for that record-breaking 8th World Championship, but it hasn't been smooth sailing. After making a surprising move from Mercedes to Ferrari, he's got some doubters to quiet. In his final season with Mercedes, Hamilton faced tough competition from his former teammate, George Russell, who beat him in both the race and qualifying head-to-heads for the 2024 season. That's a stark statistic. Russell's victories in qualifying stood at an impressive 19 wins to just 5 for Hamilton. Despite these challenges, Brundle has faith in Hamilton's racecraft, predicting that he'll showcase his skills and bring home wins despite the hurdles. In his own words, Brundle stated, "My bold prediction for this season is that Lewis Hamilton will win more than one race in a Ferrari." This statement carries a lot of weight, especially given Brundle's extensive experience in the sport. Now, as we gear up for the F1 2025 season, it's essential to stay in the loop with everything going on. If you're looking for an ultimate guide that gives you the inside scoop on the season, the initial excitement surrounding driver changes, including Hamilton's move, is just the tip of the iceberg. Joining Brundle in these predictions and analysis are some heavyweights from the F1 world. We've got lead commentator David Croft, pit lane reporter Ted Kravitz, and other legends like Nico Rosberg and Jacques Villeneuve all chiming in. Their insights will undoubtedly shape how fans perceive the upcoming races. As we wrap up this segment, remember that Hamilton getting in the red of Ferrari might just mark a new chapter in his illustrious career. With Brundle's bold predictions lighting the way, fans are eager to see if Hamilton can revive his championship dreams and bring home victories. Stay tuned for more updates as we dive deeper into the 2025 season. If you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights. What do you think Hamilton's future holds? Let us know in the comments below. As we look ahead to the thrilling 2025 Formula One season, predictions are ramping up. According to Kravitz, this year could see 8 drivers clinching victories, a remarkable prospect with powerhouse teams like McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes all vying for the championship. And talking about championship hopes, McLaren's Lando Norris has emerged as the frontrunner for many fans and pundits. Sky F1's Croft is even putting his weight behind teammate Oscar Piastri, suggesting he could snag 6 or more Grand Prix wins this season. This could be an absolute game-changer for McLaren's campaign. When it comes to the Sky F1 panel's world champion picks, Norris triumphed with an impressive tally of 6 votes, including a nod from the legendary Rosberg. This puts him on track for his first title in 2025. Meanwhile, the reigning champion Max Verstappen settled for a distant second with merely 2 votes, raising questions about his ability to defend his crown. Interestingly, the only other driver to receive a vote was Charles Leclerc of Ferrari, cast by Williams development driver Jamie Chadwick. Notably absent from the votes was Lewis Hamilton, who's gunning for that record-breaking 8th World Championship. The race for the Constructors' title is just as gripping, with McLaren narrowly beating Ferrari by a 7-3 margin. Fans are rooting for McLaren to secure back-to-back championships, establishing themselves firmly at the top of the grid. Now let's switch gears for a moment. In a quirky turn of events, Hamilton avoided what could have been an embarrassing injury scare just before his Ferrari debut. It certainly was an unusual way to face injury, a reminder that the world of F1 is always full of surprises. Charles Leclerc finds himself in an interesting position as he adjusts to Hamilton's looming presence at Ferrari. With Hamilton being hailed as the king of Ferrari, it will be fascinating to see how Leclerc navigates this challenge. Speaking of challenges, the British bias controversy has sparked some discussion, particularly regarding how the media portrays Verstappen versus his rivals like Lando Norris. It's a topic that calls for deeper exploration into how perceptions affect a driver's reputation on and off the track. Before we wrap up, there are exciting developments with Hamilton addressing the future of Formula One amidst recent updates from the FIA. This could set the stage for significant changes down the line. Stay tuned. In the world of Formula One, anticipation is always high, especially with the new season on the horizon. And this year, all eyes are on Max Verstappen and his team, Red Bull Racing. Recently, Verstappen made headlines with his candid assessment of Red Bull's chances against rivals McLaren ahead of the Australian Grand Prix. He opened up about the challenges his team faces, admitting that there's too much work to do before they can reclaim their dominant position in the sport. Looking back at the previous season, McLaren clinched their first constructors' title in 26 years, showcasing their prowess with the MCL39 during pre-season testing in Bahrain, where they demonstrated both speed and reliability. This puts them in a prime position as the new season kicks off. Speculation has been rife regarding the initial standings for the 2025 season, with many experts suggesting that McLaren will lead the pack. Reports indicate that Verstappen and Red Bull, as well as Ferrari and Mercedes, will find themselves in a fierce battle for the subsequent spots behind McLaren. Despite Verstappen's recent success, including claiming his fourth consecutive world championship last season, the path hasn't been without its hurdles. He endured a frustrating 10-race winless streak before ultimately securing the title over rival Lando Norris, reflecting the competitive balance that marks Formula One. Now, as teams prepare to hit the track, technical assessments from the preseason indicate some worrying trends for Red Bull. The new RB21 bears a resemblance to its predecessor, and Verstappen's team is still grappling with performance issues. Pierre Wache, Red Bull's technical director, expressed his dissatisfaction with the car's responsiveness after the Bahrain tests. He pointed out that while there has been progress, it hasn't lived up to their expectations. Verstappen himself echoed these sentiments in a recent event, acknowledging that McLaren is currently in a stronger position. He stated that they have work to do and that McLaren is rightly considered the favorites based on their lap times. "It's never good enough, of course," he remarked, showing his determination to improve. "We do have some ideas on how to enhance the car, and I've spent significant time in the simulator with the team." While Verstappen is hopeful of making improvements in the upcoming races, he remains realistic about their immediate chances in Melbourne. "I don't think we can compete for victory in Melbourne," he admitted, but hopes to see progress as the season unfolds. Interestingly, Verstappen isn't alone in his assessment. George Russell from Mercedes has also pointed to McLaren as a team to watch and noted that Norris has made considerable strides with their new car over the winter. With all this buzz, it's clear that the upcoming Australian GP will be a critical moment for Red Bull and a pivotal point in the early season narrative of Formula One. As the teams gear up for a fierce competition, fans can expect an exhilarating race that will set the tone for the rest of the season. Can Verstappen and Red Bull turn things around in time, or will McLaren continue to dominate? Only time will tell. Stay tuned as we bring you more updates and extensive coverage of the action-packed 2025 F1 season. As we dive deeper into the world of Formula One, let's take a moment to focus on Max Verstappen and Red Bull Racing. There's been a lot of talk regarding Verstappen's future in light of a challenging start to the new season. Speculations are swirling around potential interest from heavyweights like Mercedes and Aston Martin. Verstappen is currently contracted with Red Bull until the conclusion of the 2028 season. However, team principal Christian Horner has revealed that Verstappen's contract includes a performance element. This could enable him to exit if the team fails to provide a competitive car. It's believed that if he finds himself lower than third in the driver's standings after a significant portion of the 2025 season, he might have grounds to trigger this exit clause. Former Haas team principal Guenther Steiner recently weighed in on the situation. He expressed concerns about managing Verstappen's temperament if the new RB21 doesn't meet expectations. Steiner pointed out that in the past, when Verstappen didn't secure victories, his frustration was evident. Yet he also noted that Verstappen has matured, realizing that securing points is crucial, even when wins aren't on the table. As we shift our focus, it's important to remember that an unhappy Verstappen is not something Red Bull wants to deal with. Steiner emphasizes that if Max can't compete for wins, It'll be vital for the team to manage him effectively to foster a cooperative environment. Echoing this sentiment, he advised Verstappen to remain calm and not react rashly if the initial races of the season don't go as planned. In other news, the rumors surrounding Verstappen potentially moving away from Red Bull have gained traction and have been addressed by his father. The speculation is persistent and continues to fuel discussions among fans and pundits alike. There's also Johnny Herbert, who hinted that if the current setup with Red Bull, particularly on the engine front, isn't performing, Verstappen may need to consider options elsewhere, like Aston Martin. Finally, as for the media landscape, there's a hint of bias perception from Verstappen. He feels that some British media outlets may have favored his rival Lando Norris. Steiner's comments also hinted that booing from fans could be seen as a backlash against Red Bull, with many jumping on the bandwagon. Stay tuned for more insights on this unfolding narrative and the exciting dynamics of the ongoing F1 season. Carlos Sainz's journey to Formula One is a powerful tale of resilience, family support, and high-stakes pressure. At a critical juncture in his career, Sainz faced what he calls a last-chance scenario with Red Bull, threatening to close the door on his F1 dreams. Sainz, during his time in Formula Renault, received the harrowing news from Red Bull. He had to win the championship, or his aspirations of racing in Formula One would come to a halt. This pressure, coupled with the fears of uncertainty, transformed his outlook on racing. He shifted from youthful confidence to a stark reality that success was not guaranteed. "I remember feeling the weight of that responsibility," Sainz reminisced. "I was just 18 or 19 years old, and Red Bull told me straight, 'You either win next season, or there's no space for you.' This moment of raw honesty pushed him to evaluate his skills and commitment. It was a reality check that no amount of natural talent could substitute for hard work and determination." However, Sainz attributes much of his success to the guidance of his father, who had already claimed the title of world champion. "My dad was crucial during that time," he said. He offered insights and direction, pointing out areas of improvement that Sainz initially overlooked. "Without his support and mentorship, I might not have reached Formula One." In 2014, after winning the Formula Renault 3.5 title with Dams, the groundwork laid during that critical year bore fruit. Red Bull honored their promise, promoting Sainz to Formula One, where he would partner with fellow rookie Max Verstappen at Toro Rosso. This was a significant leap for the young driver and a testament to his hard work during those pivotal moments. Reflecting on the journey, Sainz acknowledges that the unique pressures he faced only fueled his ambition. "I was lucky. I managed to win the championship and secure my place. If I hadn't made that change in my preparation, who knows where I would be today?" Sainz's story serves as an inspiring reminder of the importance of perseverance and the role that family can play in achieving our goals. It highlights that even in high-pressure environments, with determination and support, dreams can become reality. As the upcoming seasons unfold in Formula One, fans eagerly await the next chapter for Sainz, who continues to carve his place in the world of racing. Sainz and Verstappen, former Toro Rosso teammates, had a fierce rivalry during their shared time in the team. Sainz pointed to Toro Rosso's intentions to create competition for a promotion to Red Bull as a catalyst for their tension. He reflected, "We were 17 and 20 years old. We were immature," emphasizing the challenges they faced at such a young age. Fast forward to F1 2025, and we see Verstappen aiming for an unprecedented 5th consecutive world championship with Red Bull, while Sainz embarks on a new journey at Williams, already boasting 4 Grand Prix victories after losing his Ferrari seat to Lewis Hamilton. In other F1 news, Sainz has signed with Williams, but not without some delays, making James Vowles wait 5 weeks for his decision. Meanwhile, footage has surfaced of Sainz discussing Mercedes' potential with Hamilton, indicating a strong bond between the two drivers. As testing reveals promising data for Williams, fans are hopeful this might be the turning point in Sainz's racing career. The excitement builds as we look forward to what lies ahead in F1 2025.